Hello, today I'm going to be unboxing and taking a look at the X870 AORUS Elite WIFI7, which is compatible with AMD 7000, 8000 and 9000 Ryzen processors. It is currently on sale, and in the UK it's going to set you back at just under £270. So let's go ahead and get it unboxed and take a closer look at it. So this is everything that comes in the box with our motherboard. So we've got some paperwork including our installation guide. We've got the antenna for our Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 5.4. We've got two SATA data cables. We've got an AORUS badge, and we've got a front panel cable adapter. Taking a closer look at our motherboard and working along the bottom from left to right. First of all, we've got a HD audio connector. We've then got two 3-pin 5V ARGB connectors. And then we've got an ESPI and Trusted Platform module headers. We've then got three system fan headers, followed by two USB 2.0 ports. We've then got another system fan header, followed by two pump headers. And then at the bottom right hand side of the motherboard, we've got our system panel header where you're going to plug in your front panel connectors, and we've also got chassis intrusion, power LED and speaker headers. Just above these bottom ports, we've got two temperature sensor headers, as well as a reset and clear CMOS jumper. Working up the right hand side of the motherboard, first of all we've got a right angled USB 3.2 Gen 1 header, followed by four SATA ports, and then we've got a noise detection header. We've then got our front panel Type-C header, which can support speeds of up to 20 gigabits per second, followed by a HDMI 1.4 header, which you'll find useful if you want to put an internal display in your build. We've then got a 24-pin power connector, and then we've got our postcode status screen and debug LEDs, which you'll find useful if you need to troubleshoot your PC. Working along the top of the motherboard, we've got our motherboard's third and final 3-pin 5V ARGB header, and just above it we've also got a 4-pin 12V non-addressable RGB header. We've then got power and reset buttons, followed by our CPU fan and CPU opt header. At the top left of the motherboard we've got two 8-pin EPS power connectors. The motherboard features a 16+2+2 twin digital VRM design, and we've got large aluminium heatsinks over the VRM. In the middle of the motherboard we've got our AM5 socket and standard mounting brackets. You can see we've got 4 RAM slots, and the motherboard will accommodate up to a maximum of 256 gigabytes of DDR5 at up to 8000 megatransfers per second overclocked. We've got 3x16 size PCIe slots, and it's good to see that our top slot is reinforced. This is our Gen 5 slot, and it will run in x16 mode. The middle slot is a Gen 4 slot, and it will run in x4 mode, while the bottom slot is a Gen 3 slot, and it will run in x2 mode. And it's great to see we've got an Easy Latch Plus button over towards the right hand side of our RAM, and pressing this will release the clip on the top PCIe slot. We've got 4 M.2 slots on the motherboard, and it's great to see that installing them is going to be completely toolless. So we've got 3 Gen 5 M.2 slots. They are the top slot and the bottom 2 slots, while the second slot down is a Gen 4 slot. The PCIe lanes for the Gen 5 slot come from the CPU, while the PCIe lanes for the Gen 4 slot come from the chipset. So if you want to install a drive in the top Gen 5 slot, there is no limitations anywhere else. However, if you want to use any of the bottom 3 slots, there is some important limitations to be aware of. Installing the drive in either of the bottom 2 Gen 5 slots will reduce the PCIe lanes available for your graphics card in the top PCIe slot from 16 to 8. And if you install a drive in the Gen 4 slot, now that is the second slot down, the second PCIe slot will be disabled. Taking a look at our rear I/O, at the top we've got a Q-Flash Plus button, which you're going to use if you want to flash your BIOS. We've then got the antenna ports for our Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 5.4. You'll notice we've got 10 USB Type A ports on the back of the motherboard. The top 4 are USB 2.0 ports. The 4 blue ones are USB 3.2 Gen 1 ports supporting speeds of 5 gigabits per second, while the 2 red ones are USB 3.2 Gen 2 ports supporting speeds of up to 10 gigabits per second. We've also got 2 USB 4 Type-C ports, and they will support speeds of up to 40 gigabits per second. And we've also got a HDMI 2.1 port and a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet port. We've got the audio connectors at the bottom, where we've got line out, mic and SPDIF ports. The motherboard is using the ALC 1220 audio codec, and it does support 7.1 channel HD audio. So it is looking to be a really nice motherboard with most of the features you're going to want on it for the average build. Really nice to see the HDMI port, so if you are thinking of going with a sensor panel, it makes that really straightforward. And plenty of M.2 SSD storage. I suppose the only thing is the limitations with those Gen 5 slots in reducing your PCIe lanes down. But great to see no limitations with installing a drive in that top slot. You'll find links to the motherboard in the description. And if you have enjoyed this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. And if you're not currently subscribed to the channel, please hit the subscribe button as well. Thanks for watching.